Today, I want to talk about The Bad Batch and some of the crossovers that we might just get. I mean, yes, The Bad Batch is definitely a continuation of a lot of the storylines from the Clone Wars Season 7, but there's a lot of other big-name characters that are living during this time, and we know that Dave Filoni absolutely loves to include crossovers, like how we got to see a younger Saw Gerrera in Star Wars Rebels, or even more subtle things like the crossguard lightsaber in the second season of Star Wars Rebels. Of course, it's already been confirmed that one such crossover is happening. Fennec Shand is going to play a role in The Bad Batch Season 1, which begs the question, which other characters could we see from The Mandalorian Season 1 and 2 in The Bad Batch Season 1? And with rumors that The Bad Batch are going to become some sort of mercenaries, well, Greef Karga certainly makes a lot of sense as somebody that could come into play late in Season 1. Remember, it has been confirmed that there are at least 14 episodes in The Bad Batch, and we could be getting upwards of, say, 20 episodes, so that trailer that we watched, that may only be the first few episodes, and therefore characters like Greef Karga might show up in some sort of mid-season trailer. But moving beyond The Mandalorian Season 1 and 2, I think The Bad Batch could also connect very much to Star Wars Rebels. Dave Filoni, after all, loves those characters, and which of those characters would be most likely to show up in The Bad Batch? Well, one of the rebels wandering around the Outer Rim at this time just happens to be a very young Kanan Jarrus. It would be amazing to see Freddie Prinze Jr. come back to voice the character, and great to see a young, cocky version of Kanan. That said, certainly one of the planets that the Bad Batch could end up on is the planet of Ryloth, along with her father Cham Syndulla, and we already know from the trailer that the Bad Batch may be joining some sort of early rebellion with Saw Gerrera, but don't forget that Cham was also an early rebel as well, as we saw not only in Star Wars Rebels, but in the Lords of the Sith, where he came pretty damn close to assassinating the Emperor. But that all said, the Cassian Andor series is a show that's going to be released near the Bad Batch, probably somewhere between Season 1 and 2, and I bet you Dave Filoni knows what's going on with that script and is going to have some sort of crossover. So if I was a betting man, I'd be betting that we're going to see Director Krennic or Cassian Andor himself in the Bad Batch Season 1, or maybe even a younger Galen Erso. I know Cassian would be a very young version of that character, but remember, in Rogue One he does mention that he joined the rebellion at a very young age, and he also seemed to have a lot of regrets with the things that he did for the rebellion, which means that he might have had ties to Saw Gerrera during the early rebellion time, as we know that Saw Gerrera was certainly a rebel extremist. But on the flip side of Saw Gerrera, we also have Mon Mothma and Bail Organa, two characters that we saw in Star Wars Rebels and were pretty major characters during the Clone Wars as well. And if we see Bail Organa, then certainly it would make sense to bring in Dave Filoni's favorite character, because eventually Ahsoka does join the rebellion and she becomes the rebel informant Fulcrum, working for Bail Organa himself. And you might think that Ahsoka would be a little too overpowered for the villains that the Bad Batch are facing. But what about this situation where the Bad Batch are such an elite group of individuals that the Emperor and Tarkin, they actually decide to send some of the Inquisitors after them? And what would be really cool is if that Inquisitor is the same Inquisitor we might see in the Kenobi series, played by none other than Moses Ingram. I know that's some seriously wild speculation, but wouldn't it be cool to see Ahsoka and Moses Ingram's character facing off in animation before we get to meet that character in the Kenobi series? But hey, Star Wars fans, let me know what your crazy speculation is in the comments below. As always, I'm Mike, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.